Imagine standing on one of the biggest stages in television history. The lights are blinding. The crowd is restless. And sitting just a few feet away is a man known for crushing dreams with a single sentence. Simon Cowell rarely shows emotion. For decades, he has built a reputation as the judge who stays calm, even when contestants fall apart in front of millions. He's seen thousands of singers, hundreds of auditions, and more talent than most people will ever witness in a lifetime. So when Simon Cowell actually looks stunned, when he leans back in his chair like he's just witnessed something impossible, you know something extraordinary has just happened. That moment came in 2018. A shy 13-year-old girl walked nervously onto the stage of America's Got Talent. She looked small, awkward, almost frightened by the enormous room staring back at her. Her name was Courtney Hadwin. At first glance, nothing about her seemed unusual. Her voice trembled when she spoke to the judges. Her posture was stiff. She looked like exactly what she was, a nervous teenager from a quiet English village who had somehow found herself on one of the biggest stages in the world. But then the music started. The opening riff of Hard to Handle echoed through the theater. And suddenly everything changed. The shy girl disappeared. In her place stood something electric. Courtney exploded into the performance with a voice that didn't sound 13 at all. It sounded raw, gritty, powerful, like it belonged to someone who had lived a lifetime of stories already. She moved across the stage with wild energy, her voice tearing through the air with a bluesy rasp that shocked the entire room. The audience jumped to their feet within seconds. The judges stared in disbelief. And Simon Cowell, who almost never looks impressed, leaned back slowly in his chair. "You were this shy little thing when you came out," he said afterward, still trying to process what he'd just seen. "And then you sing, and you're like a lion." Within minutes, the internet began exploding. The audition quickly racked up millions of views online. Comment sections flooded with comparisons to legendary singers like Janis Joplin. Some people even called Courtney a once-in-a-generation voice. For a moment, it looked like the world had just discovered its next superstar. But fame moves fast. And sometimes, it moves faster than the person experiencing it. Because behind the viral videos, the standing ovations, and the record deals waiting around the corner, there was still just a 13-year-old girl trying to understand what was happening to her life. And what happened next would be far more complicated than anyone expected. Long before the bright lights of American television ever found her, Courtney's story started in a quiet corner of England. She was born on July 6, 2004 in County Durham, a region in the northeast of England known more for its mining history than for producing international music stars. Courtney grew up in the small village of Heselden, a tight-knit community where life moved slowly and everyone seemed to know everyone else. Her childhood was simple. School, family, and music. Music had always been there. From the time she was little, Courtney loved singing around the house. It wasn't something planned or forced. It just happened naturally. She would listen to songs and try to imitate the voices she heard, experimenting with sounds and emotions in ways that surprised even her own family. At first it was just fun. But slowly, people began to notice something unusual about her voice. It had depth. Even when she was still very young, Courtney could tap into emotions that many adult singers struggled to capture. Her voice carried a rawness that made people stop and listen. Her parents, Paul and Anne-Marie, recognized that talent early. They supported her however they could, even though the journey wasn't easy. Music lessons cost money. Traveling to competitions required time and energy. Sometimes Courtney's father worked extra jobs just to help cover the expenses. But they believed in her. And Courtney believed in herself. By the time she was around 11 years old, she had already started performing locally. One of her early performances, singing "Say Something" during a school open mic, was recorded and uploaded to social media. The video quickly spread around her local community. People couldn't believe the voice coming from such a young girl. Soon, Courtney began entering competitions across the UK. She performed in events like Teen Star UK and Open Mic UK, slowly building confidence with every stage she stepped onto. In 2016, she even opened for the legendary group Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival, performing in front of thousands of people. For a teenager from a tiny village, it was a massive moment. But even bigger opportunities were coming. In 2017, Courtney appeared on The Voice Kids UK. Her audition performance immediately caught attention, earning her a spot on the team of Danny Jones. She made it all the way to the finals. The show helped introduce her to a wider audience in the UK. But what happened next would take her far beyond Britain. Because not long after, producers from America's Got Talent came calling. They were looking for something special. And Courtney Hadwin was exactly that. When Courtney stepped onto the AGT stage in 2018, she wasn't thinking about global fame. She was thinking about surviving the audition. She looked nervous because she was nervous. But when the music started, everything clicked. Her performance of Hard to Handle became one of the most talked about auditions of the season. Within hours, clips from the show spread across YouTube, social media, and news outlets around the world. Millions of people watched. Millions more shared the video. The moment reached its peak when Judge Howie Mandel slammed the golden buzzer, sending Courtney straight to the live shows. Confetti rained down from the ceiling. The crowd erupted. And overnight, a 13-year-old girl from a small English village became an international sensation. Week after week, Courtney continued delivering powerful performances throughout the competition. She advanced through the rounds, building a massive fanbase along the way. By the time the finals arrived, many viewers believed she might actually win the entire show. But reality TV can be unpredictable. When the results were announced, Courtney finished in 6th place. Some fans were shocked. Others felt she had already won something more valuable, global recognition. And in many ways they were right. Because even though she didn't take home the trophy, something even bigger happened behind the scenes. Simon Cowell signed her. Through his record label, Psycho Music, Courtney secured a recording deal in partnership with Arista Records. For most artists this would be the dream. But dreams can become complicated very quickly. Especially when you're only 14 years old. Suddenly, Courtney's world changed. Instead of school routines and local gigs, her schedule became packed with studio sessions, interviews, and travel between the United Kingdom and the United States. The music industry moved fast. Executives wanted songs. Producers wanted recordings. Marketing teams wanted a brand. Everyone seemed to have an idea about what Courtney should become. Some wanted her to lean fully into the blues rock sound that reminded people of Janis Joplin. Others believed she should shift toward a more commercial pop style that could dominate the charts. And Courtney was still trying to figure out who she was as an artist. She entered studio sessions surrounded by experienced songwriters and producers. Many of them were talented professionals with years of success behind them. But they were adults. Courtney was still a teenager. Slowly something began to feel wrong. The songs being created didn't always feel like her voice. The direction didn't always match the music she loved. Sometimes it felt like she was being shaped into a version of herself designed for the industry rather than the person she actually was. The pressure built quietly. Recording sessions stretched long into the night. Travel schedules became exhausting. Interviews required polished answers and endless energy. Behind the scenes, Courtney began feeling overwhelmed. The joy she once felt when singing started to blur with anxiety and exhaustion. Eventually, her presence online began to fade. Fans noticed the silence. Social media posts became rare. Appearances became less frequent. Rumors started circulating about what might be happening. Some people assumed health issues. Others speculated about disagreements with record labels. But the truth was much simpler, and much more human. Courtney needed space. She needed to rediscover why she loved music in the first place. For a while it seemed like she had disappeared. The entertainment industry, however, never stops moving. New seasons of talent shows arrived. New singers stepped into the spotlight. Meanwhile, Simon Cowell continued his work judging new contestants and discovering new performers. From the outside, it looked like Courtney Hadwin's moment had passed. But behind the scenes, something important was happening. She was rebuilding. Instead of chasing viral moments or chart-topping singles, Courtney began focusing on something far more personal: artistic control. Working with experienced musicians like producer Kevin Bowe, she started writing songs that reflected her own emotions and experiences. The difference was immediate. The music felt raw again. Songs like Monsters, Breakable, and You Only Love Me When I Lie explored themes of identity, vulnerability, and personal growth. They weren't polished industry products designed to fit a specific formula. They were honest. Fans who discovered this new phase of Courtney's career noticed the shift instantly. Her performances carried deeper emotion. Her songwriting revealed a level of maturity shaped by the challenges she had faced. The girl who once stood nervously on the AGT stage was now a young woman telling her own story. And that story wasn't about fame. It was about finding herself. Today, Courtney Hadwin is no longer the viral teenager people first discovered on television. She's an independent artist. She still lives in the United Kingdom, close to her roots in County Durham. Her life now balances music with something she once struggled to protect: normalcy. She writes. She records. She connects with fans online. Her social media presence, across platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, now focuses less on hype and more on authenticity. She shares studio sessions, personal reflections, and glimpses into her creative process. Her audience has grown with her. Many of the fans who first discovered her during AGT are still following her journey today, watching as she continues evolving as an artist. And the industry is watching again too. Recent performances, including a powerful appearance at Carnegie Hall during an event hosted by legendary music executive Clive Davis, have reminded audiences just how powerful Courtney's voice still is. But this time things are different. She's moving at her own pace. The music she releases now reflects who she is, not who others expect her to be. And perhaps that's the most important transformation of all. Because the story of Courtney Hadwin was never just about a viral audition. It was about what happens after the applause fades. It's about a young artist learning that fame can arrive overnight, but identity takes time. And sometimes stepping away from the spotlight is the only way to truly find your voice again. The girl who once shocked the world on America's Got Talent is still singing. Only now she's finally singing for herself.